What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. I got some news for you. I know it's a little bit late, but Manchester United have agreed a deal worth £73.7 million with RB Leipzig to sign Slovenia striker Benjamin Sesko. The agreement includes a guaranteed payment of £66.3 million with the remainder in add-ons. Sesko will now complete the formalities, including a medical on Friday, which is today, before finalising his move to Old Trafford. The 22-year-old, who was also wanted by Newcastle, has scored 39 goals in 87 appearances for the German side. Of course, Manchester United have already signed Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo this summer for a combined fee of about 130 million. And those payments have been arranged in a favourable way to allow United to keep spending, while the entirety of Marcus Rashford's £325,000 a week salary is being covered by his loan move to Barcelona. United also received $5 million from Chelsea after the Blues pulled out of a deal to sign Jadon Sancho. Also, Manchester United won a further 50 million for Argentina winger Alexandre Garnacho, who is attracting interest from Chelsea and has been told he can leave Old Trafford this summer. The main striker from last season, Højlund, of course, has been made available for sale for 40 million after scoring just 14 Premier League goals in 2 seasons, which isn't great, of course. And Sesko's decision to move to Old Trafford is a further blow to Newcastle, of course, who missed out on Hugo Ekitike to Liverpool and facing their main striker Alexander Isak potentially join him at Anfield as well. So Liverpool could be having a really good transfer window as well if Alexander Isak does end up to Liverpool. Of course, they've signed Hugo Ekitike and Florian Wirtz as well, so they're having a decent transfer window. But in terms of Manchester United, you can have a look here at the BBC Sport article. You can see that Sesko is Europe's top 5 scorer, currently aged under 23, and this is off players in Europe's top 5 leagues since August 2023. Benjamin Sesko is leading the goal scoring charts there with 39. Of course, he is ahead of Jude Bellingham and Florian Wirtz, Jamal Musiala, Bradley Barcola, Rasmus Højlund were 26, and Maximilian Baer, I think that's how you say his name, were 26 as well. So since moving to Germany, Sesko is the top scorer, currently aged under 23 in all competitions of all of players based in Europe's top 5 leagues, with 39 goals in 87 games. He is 1 ahead of Real Madrid's Jude Bellingham and 5 clear of Florian Wirtz, who joined Liverpool from Bayer Leverkusen for 100 million this summer. Sesko is big, strong, quick and good in the air, and a fine finisher, and has been compared to Erling Haaland, not just because they both played for RB Leipzig as of course. He was one of the fastest strikers in the Bundesliga at 35, clocking a speed of 35.7 kilometers per hour, and had the best aerial success rate of strikers involved in at least 60 of them. So I think this is a good signing for Manchester United, I'll be honest. You know, last season I was really disappointed with that front three. I was constantly seeing that front three with no changes. That front three of Højlund, Garnacho, and Bruno. I was saying last season after games that we need an entirely new front three. That front three simply is not good enough to be cutting it in the Premier League. Of course, Bruno Fernandes is good enough. However, I don't believe Rasmus Højlund and Garnacho are good enough, in my opinion. I know they're still young and they've got a lot of years ahead of them in terms of development and stuff. But for me, because I want Man United to be challenging for Premier League titles and I want us to be getting into the top 4, I just didn't think that front three was good enough. And of course, it did show. We only scored like 44 goals last season or something. I'm not sure. Let me just take a look at the Premier League table from last season, and I'll see now. I think we scored. We really did not score many goals last season. 44 goals we scored last season, and then it's conceded 54 as well. And we were like the lowest, almost the lowest scorers, I think, in the Premier League last season. It wasn't great showing. It was bad in terms of goal scoring, and it's nice to see that we have brought in, obviously, Premier League proven quality with regards to Mbeumo and Cunha, and then finally we've gone with a Bundesliga player in Benjamin Sesko. Of course, we beat Newcastle to his signature as well, and I think Newcastle were after him as well, so Nice to see that we, getting one over Newcastle. They have been in for a lot of players this summer transfer window, but it's not coming off for them, unfortunately. But in terms of Benjamin Sesko, Sesko is described as a tall, athletic centre forward, known for his powerful finishing, explosive pace, and aerial ability, standing at 1.95 meters, which is 6 foot 5 inches. He has also recorded a top speed of 35.7 kilometers, which is just 1.7 kilometers per hour slower than the fastest player in the Bundesliga. Sesko is considered one of the most promising young strikers in Europe. His combination of physical strength and technical ability has led to comparisons with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who he cited as a role model during his formative years. Recruitment analysts have described Sesko as a clinical forward capable of dropping into space, holding off defenders and linking effectively with teammates in advanced positions. While he initially operated primarily as a penalty box finisher, Sesko has gradually expanded his involvement in the build-up phase, becoming more engaged in general play around the final third. He has shown improvement in his link-up play and movement off the ball, often dropping deep to support attacking transitions and contribute to team possession beyond just finishing chances. So, in my opinion, like I said, I think this is a really good signing. I think he's better. He's a level up on Højlund. I was disappointed with. I thought Højlund, would have come good last season with, because I thought he had. We didn't buy him for nothing. Man United, 2 years ago they decided to purchase Højlund, and it wasn't for nothing. They must have seen something in him, and I thought that as well. But as time's gone by, my confidence in Højlund has been kind of removed. It's been dragged down, and I'm not really a believer in him anymore. Even though I don't think he would be necessarily too bad to keep around the squad as a backup, because you can't be relying on only Benjamin Sesko. I think what Højlund lacked as well, in his Manchester United career so far, is competition for places. He's not really had too much competition. Maybe that's why he's not been performing too well. But I personally would have gone out and signed an entirely new front three after seeing Bruno Fernandes, Højlund, and Garnacho not perform too well for us last season in them front three positions. And it's nice to see that we have gone out, splashed the cash, and gone out and signed these players. We'll have a look at Benjamin Sesko's goals. So in the Bundesliga last season, he did score 13 goals, and I think he had 5 assists as well. Yeah, so in the Bundesliga last season, he played 33 times, he scored 13 goals, and he picked up 5 assists as well. So that's 18 goals and assists in 33 matches. That's about 1 goal or assist every 2 games, which is pretty decent. And of course, the Bundesliga is no farmers league, of course. It's a decent league, and I'm quite happy with the signing. He's only 22 years of age, but he's got all the hallmarks to be a clinical finisher, and I think he's got a lot of potential in his locker that we need to unlock, of course. But we can't really allow the settling in phase, if you know what I mean, in terms of the striker, and in terms of us, we have to hit the ground running, is what I'm trying to say as well. So maybe possibly I can understand why some people would have wanted the likes of Ollie Watkins, because he is Premier League proven, of course, and with Watkins, you know what you're getting. With Sesko, you are buying potential as well. So it remains to be seen if he can come away with the same numbers he had in the Bundesliga. Like, if you look at Ollie Watkins last season, Ollie Watkins had 38 matches played, 16 goals and 8 assists, which is 24 GA in 38 games, which is pretty good in my opinion. And I can understand why. That's why people possibly would have wanted to go for Ollie Watkins instead. But we are buying a world-class potential in Sesko. I think he's got a lot of potential. From what I've seen, from the clips I've seen of him, I've been highly impressed by his hold-up play. I've been really impressed with his finishing as well from outside the box. He's got a lethal right foot. I've seen some absolutely mad strikes, mad goals that he scored with his right foot. So really happy with that signing. And so hopefully he does hit the ground running. He is going to be probably unveiled tomorrow in our friendly match against Fiorentina. But in terms of some other news as well, we'll talk about this as well. AC Milan are keen to sign Manchester United striker Højlund. AC Milan are keen to sign Man United striker Rasmus Højlund. So it's been just over a week since he made a point of speaking to journalists after he scored in a 4-1 victory over Bournemouth in Chicago to state his intention to remain at Old Trafford, even if there was increased competition for his place in Ruben Amorim's side. However, United have since agreed terms with RB Leipzig for Slovenia international Benjamin Sesko, with the likelihood he will be introduced to the crowd at Old Trafford before Saturday's lunchtime friendly with Serie A outfit Fiorentina. A number of clubs are thought to have expressed an interest in Højlund, 23, in the knowledge United are willing to negotiate over his release. It is understood Milan are keen, although they would only want a loan initially, as they like United are hindered financially by an absence from European competition this season. Sources suggest the Serie A side are willing to pay an additional initial €4 million loan fee with an additional option to buy next summer for €40 million. Whether that is acceptable to United is open to doubt, although it is anticipated there will be more clarity on the situation in the coming week. Milan open their Serie A campaign against Cremonese, I think that's how you say that team, on the 23rd of August. So that's some Rasmus Højlund news as well. So we are looking to possibly offload him. I personally wouldn't mind if he is offloaded. We signed him for 72 million 2 years ago, and it's just not happened for him. Let's be honest, he hasn't kind of lived up to the expectation that we thought he was going to live up to. Even before we signed him, I was skeptical because he hadn't scored too many goals in Serie A, that remains that. But in terms of other news, I think we are also looking to get rid of Garnacho as well. It would be nice if we could get rid of the likes of Garnacho, Antony as well, Sancho, who's still here on the wage books. But you look at Garnacho's stats from last season. He did not perform too well in the Premier League either, but I think Chelsea are after him. If I can find the article, Chelsea strike Alexandru Garnacho transfer agreement after United talks. So I think Chelsea have reached an agreement with personal terms for Alexandru Garnacho, but it depends on whether the clubs can find an agreement between them in terms of the fee that Chelsea are going to have to pay for him. But let me just try to find the article. I think Fabrizio Romano did tweet something about it. Yeah, so let me just pull this up right now. Let me just pull it up. So here we can see, understand Alexandru Garnacho has agreed every detail of personal terms with Chelsea. Deal done on player side. He only wants Chelsea as revealed here since July. Talks with Manchester United about fee will follow soon. And Chelsea FC both pursue both Garnacho and Xavi Simons as revealed as well. So it looks like as if Garnacho could be out the door as well. So again, that's freeing up more money for us, more money on the wage. More money freed up on the wage bill for us to spend. I think we also been linked with Brighton's Baleba as well, but that's looking a little bit hard because I think he's gonna be going for like 100 million or something. I think Man United confident 100 million star wants to join after contact. So it remains to be seen whether if we can get a deal done for Baleba, but I think it's going to be difficult if we can get that done, simply because we've spent already so much of this in the summer transfer window so far, but we haven't let any players go. We've only let Rashford go on loan. It was only a loan, and yes, Barcelona are covering all his wages, but we've still got the likes of Antony, Sancho, Malacia, Garnacho. They're the five that were wanted to leave, and 4 of them are still on our wage slip, unfortunately. But Man United have inquired about Brighton midfielder Carlos Baleba, and so we are looking to possibly sign a midfielder, which is going to be decent as well. I do think that it would be beneficial for us to sign a midfielder because I don't think that a Bruno Fernandes Casemiro pivot is necessarily going to work. Maybe it would have been better if we could just take the 100 million or 150 million, whatever Al Nassr, I think they offered Bruno at the start of the window. Because I'm not sure if this double pivot is going to work this season, because we've signed a front three of Cunha and Mbeumo and Sesko, and that's going to mean that Bruno Fernandes does going to have to be playing in a deeper role, and I'm not sure if he has the technical ability required to play in a central defensive midfield position or in a double pivot, even in a five at the back. Even if you've got five defenders at the back, you've also got Ahmad, who's playing right wing back as well, so that's more attacking threat down the right side. So I'm not sure if maybe it would have been better if we had just taken that money for Bruno, but yeah. Pull up the article for you now for this midfield issue. 201 million on new forwards. Now United look to solve midfield issue. Manchester United's agreement to sign RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko for 74 million will take their spending for their forward line past 200 million. But now the question is, who is going to play in midfield? Head coach Ruben Amorim was determined to massively increase his side's goal output, having scored just 44 times in the league last season, their worst return since being relegated in 1973-74. Sesko will be the third attacking arrival this summer after Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo, but central midfield remains an issue for United, with a question mark or two around each of the candidates to play in one of those two positions, and that has led to the club quietly trying to establish what the terms would be to sign Cameroon midfielder Carlos Baleba from Brighton. And BBC Sport looks at the complex issue of United's midfield. So here the article goes into what kind of midfield United can play. Amber insists it involves two deeper midfield players, wing backs who push up high up the pitch. Wing backs who push high up the pitch, two inside forwards and a striker. It's assumed that Sesko will be the striker, of course. Matheus Cunha playing behind him on the left, and Bryan Mbeumo on the right. That would mean skipper Bruno Fernandes taking on one of the deeper roles in midfield. Now, Fernandes is many things, but a box-to-box midfielder, he is not one of them. Fernandes likes to roam. He likes to get on the ball. He likes to find pockets of space to take a pass. But the 30-year-old Portugal international is not someone you would rely on being alert to danger. He is not someone who's going to make a 10-yard run in anticipation of closing down space. And that's going to be a problem in my opinion. I don't think Bruno Fernandes necessarily has the defensive capabilities to be playing in that central defensive midfield position, especially against the top sides, the likes of City, Chelsea, Liverpool, but I don't know how Ruben Amorim is going to set up against Arsenal next week. Tomorrow could be an indication against Fiorentina with regards to the midfield he goes with. Of course, other midfielders that we do have at the club include Ugarte, Mainu and Casemiro, but are they the right partner for Fernandes? That's another thing. I've not been impressed with Ugarte this preseason. I'll be honest with you, I've not seen many preseason games this season. I've not seen any preseason games so far. I might watch the Fiorentina game tomorrow, but we'll see about that. But in terms of other preseason games, I've not seen any. But I have seen some clips and some opinions on Ugarte. He hasn't been performing too well against Everton, against that draw against Everton in the USA last week or whatever. So I think Ugarte, the jury's still out on him. He's not really too good on the ball for me. He can get about and kind of put in tackles and stuff, but in terms of ball possession, he isn't great. But yeah, in terms of Carlos Baleba, the Brighton player is very much a box-to-box midfielder, someone with energy and endurance who can tackle and pass. More pertinently, he is precisely the kind of player Amorim does not have in the squad. So, of course, like I said, we do have Ugarte, Mainu and Casemiro there who can also play in the central defensive midfield positions, but it remains to be seen. What's interesting is that Brighton, it all brings back to Baleba. Brighton have made it known they would want a huge fee along the lines of 150 million. Chelsea had to commit to signing Moises Caicedo in 2022. So maybe we should go after Brighton's replacement for Baleba, because Brighton, I think they have a really good scouting network. In terms of they sold They sold Moises Caicedo to Chelsea for 150 million, and then they bought in Baleba. When they're looking, they probably have signings replacements lined up for Baleba, so maybe we should go for them. You know what I mean? Maybe we should sign Brighton's scouting network, because they keep on getting these fantastic players from their scouting network. So possibly we could could be beneficial for us signing Brighton scouting network. But yeah, in terms of United's starting 11, I just wanted to quickly talk about that as well, in terms of my predicted starting lineup, or how I would possibly like United to see in this season. So in terms of, this is my starting lineup for United. I'm not sure if this is the lineup that's going to start for Fiorentina or against Arsenal tomorrow, but like I said, that's the lineup most likely. Or maybe Euro in for Mazraoui, because Mazraoui hasn't featured in pre-season. But then what's nice to see, if you go to this other team right here, there's two kind of starting 11s there that we have, which have great squad depth, which we didn't necessarily have last season. Like in terms of last season, we were starting with Garnacho, Bruno and Højlund up front for the majority of the time. Obviously Mount was out injured, Xerxes got injured as well, but we didn't really have too many options in strength in depth. But it's nice to see that we've brought in a brand new front three, and now we've got proper strength in depth as well. We've got competition for places as well. Mount could be getting back to his best as well. Like hopefully we see the Mount that we saw against Chelsea, but for me the jury's still out on him. I see Mount as a squad player, and I'm personally going to be wanting Cunha and Mbeumo and Sesko to be starting every single game for us. This midfield double pivot is a little bit concerning as well, because like I said, Casemiro doesn't necessarily have the legs anymore, and Bruno Fernandes isn't defensively aware. But we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we do pick up a midfield signing, possibly a Casemiro replacement to play against Bruno, but that remains to be seen. Ahmad as well at right wing back is a little bit attacking as well, so we've got a lot of attacking players in this lineup, and we'll see how we line up against Fiorentina tomorrow. But yeah, in terms of other news, that's about it really. I've not got really much else to say. I am looking forward to the start of the season. Hopefully we do get a central midfielder over the line. That would be really, really good for us. But yeah, Sesko is going to be unveiled tomorrow. If his contract is signed on time, he could be formally presented at Old Trafford on Saturday when United face Fiorentina in the final pre-season friendly. Newcastle, of course, had been working on him, so we did beat Newcastle to the signing of Benjamin Sesko. But overall, at this moment in time, quite happy with the transfer window so far. Like I said, hopefully we can get a midfielder over the line as well, someone to partner Bruno Fernandes in midfield, because I don't think Bruno and Casemiro pivot is necessarily going to work, and I don't think Mainu Ugarte pivot necessarily works either. But yeah, that's it from me. Like I said, really happy with the transfer window so far. Hopefully we do get a midfielder over the line. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.